The old man poured a ton of gold into the bathtub, and then lay back and soak in it. He loved the feeling of being in close contact with the gold. He is the 82nd richest man on the Forbes list, although he owns hundreds of billions of dollars. It also brings him a lot of trouble, because all his family members want his inheritance, especially his asshole son who spends money all the time. In order to prevent his son from stealing his money, he keeps all his money in a vault. He eats and sleeps in it every day. He guards it all the time. When he's bored, he throws gold coins in the bathtub to play. It turns out that rich people are not happy at all. If you want to bear his pain, please leave your message in the comment section. But what makes him sadder is that his health is deteriorating day by day. He will die one day, and then what will he do with his money? When he thought about it, he couldn't help but feel a little sad. What he didn't know was that a fate-changing event was about to happen. That day, the news broadcast a meteorite fall at night. The media was waiting for this once-in-a-century spectacle. At that moment, the old man and his driver were driving down the road. They were completely oblivious to the fact that the road had begun to collapse. Then a big crater appeared in front of them. There's a girl driving in the opposite direction. Both of them were shocked by this sudden scene. They couldn't brake in time and fell into the crater. Then a meteor shower and meteorites kept falling. The old man woke up in a daze and opened the car door to escape. He had a heart attack right after he got out. The old man was struggling on the ground. He took out the medicine prescribed by the doctor, but his hand shook and he spilled it all on the ground. At the same time, there was a green meteorite on the ground. The old man squinted and felt around on the ground for a while and found the meteorite. Without hesitation, he put it in his mouth. The next moment he fainted. At the same time, the pit also lit up with green light. In his dream, the old man was surrounded by a group of messengers. They all had 3 eyes. They stared at the old man fiercely. The old man kept begging for mercy. He'd worked hard all his life and hadn't even enjoyed his life yet. He didn't want to die like this. The old man was willing to trade all his possessions for his life. On the other side, the girl who fell into the pit with him climbed out of the car with great difficulty. Her first thought was to call for help, but when she touched the old man's hand, the messengers from the old man's dream stopped dead in their tracks. The girl accidentally saved the life of the old man who was about to be taken away. The old man began to wake up. Soon after, they were found, but as soon as they were rescued, the car in the pit exploded. The hundreds of millions of dollars in the car fell to the ground, but the old man doesn't care about this money, because the meteorite he just swallowed is priceless. After returning home, the old man's injuries all healed automatically. When he was lying in the bathtub, something strange happened. His body began to change rapidly. The wrinkles all over his body were smoothed out little by little. The dried out skin was filled with firm muscles. Even his appearance became that of a handsome young man. When he got out of the water, he realized he was 40 years younger. Looking at his handsome appearance, and his abs were full of muscles, he was shocked and delighted. But just when he was in the midst of his joy, his son suddenly came to him. He didn't know how to explain this strange thing. He jumped into bed and hid under the covers as soon as his son walked in the door. And the son comes to him with something important. He asked his dad where the billions of dollars of cash in his car yesterday came from. The police said they were coming to investigate the money from an unknown source. The man was surprised, but he didn't have time for that. He was afraid that his identity would be exposed, so he hurriedly kicked his son out. After his son left, he turned on the TV. The news was showing him falling into a pit. When he got out, his car exploded. He didn't know where the billions of dollars of cash in the car came from. In order not to cause trouble, the next morning, he dressed casually. He fled before the searchers entered the room. Since then, the old man had disappeared. He went to a cafe to enjoy his youthfulness, but he didn't know that his family was worried. Then he suddenly remembered what happened last night. He woke up in a coma and had a heart attack. He rushed to pick up the medicine he dropped on the floor. He swallowed the meteorite by mistake, but he didn't even realize it. He thought his youthfulness was caused by the medicine the doctor gave him, so he immediately went to his personal doctor and told him the whole story. The doctor was shocked. He didn't believe him at all. The doctor thought he'd met a psychopath, so he called someone to kick him out. He changed his clothes and went to his office, and there were reporters in front of the office. Anna was just passing by. They knew he fell into the crater with the old man, so they all came over to interview her. The man ran over and grabbed Anna to escape. They hid in a deserted place and finally got away from the reporters. The man took Anna's hand. He wanted to see if Anna was as young as he was, although he is Anna's boss, but now he looks like this. Anna doesn't recognize him at all. Anna called him a pervert. Then she turned around and left. He found his driver again. He told him who he was. The driver was the person he trusted the most. At first, the driver didn't believe him, until he revealed the secret between them, and the way he used to hit people. It was exactly like his boss. Finally, the driver believed that the man in front of him was his boss. He asked the driver to keep his secret. He couldn't tell anyone about his identity, because he suspected that there was a mole in the family who wanted to swallow up all his money. He had to find out what happened, and the first thing to investigate is where the billions of cash came from. His perfect body. He didn't know whether he should be happy or not, but in order to find out if he could stay young forever or go back to his old self, he took his assistant to his personal physician. He told the doctor what had happened. The doctor was not surprised, because in 1978, There was also a strange case in Africa. There was an 86-year-old tribal chief. He woke up one morning 50 years younger. The whole country was shocked. The tribesmen thought it was a gift from the gods. But a doctor in America was convinced it was a medical miracle. He immediately reported this amazing case to the medical profession. But it was ignored. It was dismissed as medical nonsense. And it was never heard of again. The chief was never heard from again. The doctor went on to tell him, "What happened to you is not a coincidence. You have the same thing as that case back then." There was a meteor shower at the site of the accident and a crater appeared on the side of the road. When he heard that, he became more and more curious. He wanted to find out if he would stay young, or would he someday become an old man again. So he immediately sent the doctor to Africa. He told him to find out what he could. When he got home, his assistant's words got him thinking. The assistant asked him if he wanted to live like this or go back to his old self. The man didn't have an answer in his mind either. If he stays the way he is now, although he can continue to pursue love, but everything will start all over again, and the wealth he'd saved up all his life would be inherited by someone else. If he goes back to his old self, he can be a rich man again. It's a difficult choice for a man who loves money, but let God decide. A few days later, the assistant received news of the doctor's return. The two of them rushed there without stopping. The doctor said what you took in the crater wasn't medicine. It was a small meteorite. The doctor said that the sheik had also eaten a meteorite. There's a power hidden in the meteorite that modern science can't explain, and the sheik was unable to control it. He didn't wake up after the 48th day of eating the meteorite. His appearance changed back to what it once was. The man was shocked at the news. At that moment, he recalled the text messages he used to receive on his cell phone. It always showed some strange numbers. Do these numbers represent the remaining life? Thinking about this, the man became scared, so he and his assistant immediately went to the hospital for a checkup. Sure enough, there was a meteorite on the inside of his cardiovascular system, but fortunately, he could be operated on, but he didn't want to take it out, because he had something very important to do.
Thank you for watching. For the sake of those who want the full movie, the title is Mabek.